Hey guys, you're tuned in to Matter of Faction with Alex Callan. Tonight we have Dion and Nathan from House of Judgement on the line, and you guys have your debut album Fear Forever about to come out. How's it going, boys?
Yeah, not too
Hey
bad.
man.
Look, thank you so much for joining us. I'm actually part of the lucky few that has heard Fear Forever already, and it's fucking whopping, to be honest, boys. Like, kind of brings back that, I don't know, like the metal that I grew up on, in a sense, like the Acacia Strain, Black Dahlia, that kind of mid to late 2000s where shit was getting really brutal for a while, and I feel like House of Judgment's really bringing that back. So I suppose, what did you guys kind of set out to achieve with Fear Forever as, I suppose, being your debut album?
Oh man, it's pretty hectic. So it kind of just happened. We had a guitarist,
Mhm.
and we had a couple songs written for an album. Then he left, and he pretty much wrote all of it. So when Nathan joined, we pretty much fucking started again. We decided we just wanted to
Uh,
bring back some old school heavy shit, but with some more older school influences, like a lot of Slipknot and like all those kind of bands from back then. Just join into one. I don't know if Nathan wants to elaborate on that at all.
Yeah, you pretty much nailed it. I mean, much like yourself, Alex, like we grew up in that sort of era. Like we were sort of in high school around that time, with all those bands like, Acacia Strain and that sort of hitting their stride. And, we sort of grew up on that and honed our tastes on that. And we are still very much attached to that. And, we got so many different bands from around that era that we all enjoy. Not just myself and Dion, but the rest of the boys in the band. And, we just sort of collectively tried to grab all those parts that we enjoyed and just do what we could do with it and what we thought sounded sick. And yeah, I mean, to hear that people are receiving it well and actually hearing that influence is pretty reassuring.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I feel like the influence is kind of quite evident, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like House of Judgment's largely doing your own thing in a lot of ways with your sound. I mean, certain moments, like even the opening track where you kind of introduce the band, like that felt like something so mid 2000s, but it was also like, fuck, that's such a fun twist. And especially for like an intro song on your debut album, I mean, it just adds so much character. And I kind of feel as if, I mean, in a sense, like certain stuff like that, it just makes you smile and feel as if you're drinking beers with the band when you're listening to it, kind of thing. Um, so yeah, it's a really fun output, I guess.
I suppose
Oh man,
that's
yeah.
oh, you go, bro.
Oh, so yeah, no, I just hope it feels like that because that's exactly what we did when we wrote it. You know what I mean? It's pretty much just beers and listening to shit we enjoy, whether it was new or old. You know what I mean? It was a lot of, oh, that sounds fucking sick. Let's use some of that. You know what I mean? Kind of just happened
Definitely.
like that. I don't know. Yeah.
I feel it's
Yeah, I'd say the album was fueled with a lot of beers.
well, like, I don't know, it doesn't come out sloppy at all. So like it's pretty cool that you guys managed to have fun and still get it down to such like a tight and meticulous extent. I mean, like certain, especially for you, Nathan, like certain moments on guitar, like the intervals in New Skin kind of really blew me away. And like, I don't know, I was really like bopping to that. And then Dion, some of your vocals, man, are insane. I noticed that like I find nowadays I'm coming across more bands where the vocalists are good singers in terms of clean vocals, and these are metal bands that I'm chatting to and stuff like that. So when I come across a band like House of Judgment and I hear like your insane vocals, it's kind of like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. But definitely from Fear Forever, you have gained a fan in me, 100%. I cannot wait to see you guys live, and I know a lot of the people on the faction will be feeling the same. So I suppose, with the album, because it does kind of go through, as you said, like a lot of different moments that you like. So it does have a few different facets to it. Is there a song that stands out the most to either of you guys?
Oh man, I don't know, Nathan, you want to go first? Let me think about that.
Oh man, I don't know. Hey, I would say the one that stands out for me would be Self-Sabotage. I can't claim total writing credit for that song either because we dearly departed other guitarist. He contributed mostly to that track, but there's a certain groove and a pace to that track that I just can't seem to sort of let go of. And for me, that one feels like the standout track on the album. But I know that some of the other boys feel differently. But for me personally, that's my hype track off the album, I would say.
Yeah.
Then it's definitely New Skin. I don't know, I guess I just had the most fun writing it. Definitely had a few of my favorite lines in there.
Is
kind
that
of one of the ones that, sorry?
In terms of your favorite lines, is that kind of because you had fun writing them, or because
also when we were doing it, there was a few gaps we had to fill, and one of my friends was in the studio with us, and me and our producer Ethan couldn't think of a single thing to put there, and he kind of came through with the lyrics for that bit, so obviously appreciate him for that. But yeah, I don't know, it just felt overall one of my favorite experiences with recording this album.
Oh, unreal. Well, it's kind of cool, I suppose, that you guys can, I suppose, differ on your favorite moments. And especially for me, I mean, I always go for the heavier material personally. So Chameleon really stood out for me. I mean, Dion, you kind of matching up with Jerry on vocals like that, that's like an insane contrast. So I suppose for the people that haven't heard, Chameleon features Jerry Shard from Vengeance. So how did you guys first kind of come across that band? Had you known him for a while?
So I pretty much knew him as soon as I started, because obviously I was a big fan of Honest Crooks. You know, I love all my local to Australia, you know, bands like Justice and whatnot. Yeah, so I just hit him up on Instagram. I was like, yo, I feel like it's a pretty heavy song. Are you keen to jump on? And he was really easy to work with through the whole process as well. So that was pretty awesome.
Beautiful. Yeah. So you hadn't actually met him previously?
I think I met him once when they came to Perth the one time. You know what I mean? But God, Honest Crooks it is. We almost played with Vengeance until that gig got canned. Yeah. Well, that was COVID last year. Yeah. When we went into one of our lockdowns, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But, it's made it so hard, especially for you guys as like an up and coming band. I mean, it's so hard kind of having your debut album come out and, you know, obviously put so much time into promotions and tour schedules and things like that. And then COVID just makes it pretty impossible to actually know if it's going to come to fruition in a big sense.
Yeah, well, that's 100% it. We just lucky we planned it for a good time, because all the lockdowns here are pretty much finished yet at this point. But
yeah, because I saw you guys have a launch show coming up in Perth as well.
Yeah. What is it? June 11th, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, June 11th at Linnet's Lounge with Remission, Own Hands, and Our Demise.
Yes. Yeah. 11th. Yeah. Cool. Oh, it's going to be a big week. Anyway.
No, that'll be heaps fun. So are they all Perth bands?
Yeah, they're all just our mates. Jackson from Remission, he also features in one of the songs in the album, just because we wanted one of the boys from Perth on there, you know. So he did a really killer feature on the album as well. So we obviously had to get them on. Otherwise, it wouldn't have made much sense. Also, saves me from having to do it.
Well, because I know, like, Jackson's pretty mental on guitar as well. And, like, I've seen a few of his covers online. That dude is insane.
I love Jackson. He's a very talented man. One of my favorite people in Perth, to be honest, when it comes to the metal scene. Really, really kills it with everything he does.
Well, dude, Jackson, you can't fault him, man. And like, I think it's a thing with him. Like, everyone knows he rips on guitar, but I feel like he's underrated on vocals as well. That man can belt some shit out, dude. He's insane.
And it's cool to give someone that platform, I guess. I mean, like, first thing, because I wasn't too familiar with him previously, so I kind of saw that feature and looked him up and kind of came across all these guitar videos. And I suppose just based upon that, kind of at the start, I was like, is it a guitar feature? Which is something kind of quite different. So yeah, it is cool to kind of, for him to step outside his comfort zone and I suppose show people around Perth and, you know, wider Australia that he kind of has things in his arsenal.
Yeah, well, he's a vocalist in two bands. He's in remission, obviously, because he does guitar and vocals, and he's in some band with Ang from Dealer now as well.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so
I'll,
that should be killer. Yeah.
I'll have to check them out because truthfully, even Remission were kind of a new name to me. And it kind of made me want to ask you guys, I suppose, about the local Perth metal scene.
Oh yeah.
Both for a lot of listeners, like, you know, a lot of us come from Melbourne or Sydney, the Gold Coast even, where kind of heaps of metal bands come out. And I suppose when I think of Perth the last few years, you know, there's been a lot of psych rock groups that have kind of come out and been quite prominent. But metal, not as much. So I guess, you know, what is the scene like in Perth at the moment?
It's actually pretty good because we're pretty lucky with a lot of the lockdowns and COVID, where obviously we get to start having gigs a lot earlier. And I think the lockdown really helped with expanding the scene, because when it started up again, it just blew up. Pretty much every gig was sold out for quite a while there. So it was pretty good. Like even for us, we were having gigs with like 400 people there. You know what I mean? For just being a local band, it was pretty sick. 400 is probably a bit much more. I don't know.
No,
yeah.
that's pretty insane, to be honest. Like, I know I can imagine there being a really solid turnout at your gigs, and you know, being from Melbourne and with you guys only kind of first coming out in like 2018, it's been COVID, so I haven't had the chance to see you yet. I'd absolutely love to either me come to Perth or you guys come down to Melbourne, but.
Oh, mate, we're lazy. You might have to come here.
Yeah, so no Australian tours at the moment for the album?
No. Look, I guess we're just waiting to see how it goes on release.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? See if there's a reception for it, or you know, otherwise probably can't afford it.
Yeah. Well, that's the hardest thing for like any Perth band really, is like, you know, it's if you can do quite well locally, and we have, but like trying to get that exposure over to the eastern states and elsewhere in the world for that matter is just like a whole nother beast entirely. And you know, hopefully with this album that, you know, we can get some reach over east and maybe do a weekender over there or something, and you know, see how it goes that way. That's obviously the aim, but yeah, we just got to see how it's received and go from there.
I think that'd be rad, to be honest. And like, I think it's going to be received pretty massively. I mean, there's a lot of people in like, you know, our age group that kind of grew up with that metal, but then there's also a lot of younger people. And I feel like metal the last few years, kind of as we touched on, has got softer, or, you know, has gone significantly more like new metal. And I feel kind of by bringing back the heaviness in metal, that's fucking exciting. Like, you know, people are really going to resonate with that, whether it's something nostalgic or something they kind of haven't really come across before.
Oh, look, I hope so. Well, as you're saying about like the Perth scene and stuff earlier, a lot of it here, we haven't adapted to what over East are doing, I guess is the best way to put it. It's just so far separated. It's stayed consistently pretty heavy. You got like End It All, which is metalcore. Hardcore is a big thing over here. You got like Denial, The Chain, Closed Off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It I guess it just hasn't really taken off here. People just prefer their riffs, if that makes any sense.
No, like 100% it makes sense. And, you know, I feel it's kind of interesting, I suppose, in this day and age to think that, you know, it's not getting as much outside influence. But I mean, you guys would know firsthand more than me. Every single Australian tour doesn't stop in Perth. Like bands come over from overseas and it's like a major city tour and they don't stop in Perth for some reason. Like Perth and Hobart have just been wronged by Australians.
Yeah.
So I guess
definitely.
there's not as many bands coming through. So, you know, there's not the people like Northland that people kind of go, fuck, I want to jump on what they're doing or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is quite a unique position to be in.
Oh, look, it's gotten better in here, over here in the past few years, you know what I mean? But Hobart definitely gets the shit end of the stick.
Definitely.
But no, Perth's been a bit better over the few years. We've gotten heaps of the better gigs coming here, like when the last Invasion Fest that happened, we had Jesus Peace, you know, Malevolence, Terror, all that come here as well as doing that shit over there. So it's pretty cool. You know what I mean? A lot of bands coming out. Justice for the Damned comes like every time. I've seen them like 7 times now. You know what I mean?
It's still good. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see Justice anytime they play. I kind of
100%.
caught myself in my peripherals and realized that I'm wearing a Justice long sleeve. I've been away
Yeah.
for that long that I kind of like was zoned out of that. But no, like they do make an effort to come over, and man, those Invasion Fest lineups are fucking epic. Like they're always so good.
They get better every year. Every year.
Well, I suppose in terms of the reception, and like the scene building, and as you kind of said, Dion, like shows all of a sudden started selling out and more people were coming. So Fear Forever has already been released as the first single. How have you found the reception since that's dropped?
It's been pretty good. We probably shouldn't have dropped it when we did, but it's been all right.
What makes you say that?
We probably just should have announced the album before we at the same time, even, you know what I mean? Like we just kind of like, yeah, song.
Fair. I mean,
we sort of sat on the album for so long, like it's taken us like over a year from like writing to recording and everything, and then like we were sort of just like itching to just get something out, and yeah, sort of shot ourselves in the foot a little bit. Probably didn't receive as much reach as we could have gotten it to, but like, hey, whatever, like we just got it out there.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I mean, it's kind of got the ball rolling, and now, I mean, the full length album's coming out, which kind of, as I keep saying, like I can genuinely kind of see it getting that attention behind it. Like it's a really cool sound that you guys are going for. Well, not going for, that you're acing, like you're killing that sound. But I guess kind of with what you said, Nathan, how, you had been sitting on it for a year. So was that, you guys had written the songs and you were sitting on them, or you'd recorded and you were kind of more so waiting for mixing, mastering, the right time to release, anything like that?
When the album releases, it's basically a year previous to that we started recording. So yeah, we pretty much had all of those songs written like a year before the release. Yeah, so
all of recorded before the release. We started writing about like almost 2 years ago now.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's like
ages ago.
Wow. Has it, I suppose, being your first full length release, have you noticed a difference when you're kind of listening back to it now before it's kind of reached the public, and with there being, a year and a half kind of time frame in between, is there a difference in the stuff that you guys have been demoing and writing now as opposed to this album?
I'll be real with you, we haven't really written anything.
I appreciate the honesty.
Yeah, we're looking to get back into it. Nathan and I did like a side internet band thing, but other than that, we haven't done anything towards House of Judgement. So we're just kind of waiting to get this the fuck out there, and then we're gonna start writing again pretty much the second it's out.
Yeah, close one door and then open another, and just hit it hard and see where we can go.
So is that because you kind of do want to wait and see the reception and see if people resonate with something in particular, or you kind of just want the breather in between?
Might depend. I'll let Nathan go, but I think we may have different reasonings as to why we feel that way.
See, from my end, being one of the main songwriters, like I need to like free up that mental real estate of the album. So like it's still sitting there in my head. I need it out. I need it gone. I need it done, fully removed from the equation, and then I can like sit down and start focusing on doing other stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I work funny that way. I have to have something sealed up in a nice bow and sent away before I can like move on to something else.
Yeah.
It's just how I operate. But yeah, Dion probably feels differently.
Like I feel like a lot of people are the same with that, to be honest, especially in a creative sense. Where like I know if I write articles, I feel really weird submitting them straight away. I kind of want a breather so I can, come and look back at it with a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
It's the same. And I suppose, like if I'm doing reviews, I kind of can't go straight from one album to another album. Like I need some time in between. Otherwise, it all just blurs. And, you know, from a writing perspective, where you being a guitarist, Nathan, I mean, every song has what, like 4 or 5 riffs in it kind of thing. Like there's so many different aspects that are going through your brain while you're piecing that together. So
Yeah.
I completely see where you're coming from with that.
Yeah. I just don't want to set myself up to then start repeating myself, if you know what I mean. Because obviously going through now that we're releasing the album and then doing the launch show, and then we'll probably have several other shows that we play after that where we just pump all the new stuff. All those riffs from the album are just going to be floating around my head. So if I start writing sort of too soon with all of that there, I feel like I'm just going to set myself up and just start like just doing the same shit that I was doing. So I'd rather just, kind of sit on it for a little bit, chill, like you say, see how it's received, whatnot. And then, just sort of like start collecting some ideas together and hit the ground running and, you know, start doing some new shit and, see how we can take whatever sound we're working with at the moment and just keep forging our own path forward, you know.
No, man, let's do slam.
I think it's really cool, to be honest. And I mean, it shows kind of so early on in House of Judgement that you guys kind of aren't looking to just hit a mold, that mold gets successful and then just keep doing the same thing. I mean, based on your answer there, Nathan, like I'm pretty excited for the next 5 releases that you guys bring out, because I can imagine that they're going to be pretty different from one another.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. Well, I suppose in terms of Fear Forever, like obviously there's no national tour planned at the moment. But is there anything else kind of in the works, any support slots or anything that I suppose people can keep an eye out for?
That is definitely a me question. So I guess this kind of comes into the question earlier with like why we want to get into writing. Like I've been organizing. Nathan does all the financial shit, keeps track of merch, blah 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 blah. I do all the organizing gigs,
correspondence.
That's the word I was looking for. I do all that kind of shit. So we've pretty much just been. Well, I've been waiting for this to be released because I'm so busy with trying to get everything sorted that we haven't really taken on too many gigs, to be honest with you. We've said no to quite a lot of them now. We've just been focused on this kind of tunnel vision, if you will, about it, as to not just rush the process and just fuck it all up. Because if there's one thing that happens in this band, it's that nothing goes right just at all. So gotta really take it a step at a time to get shit right, if you know what I mean.
No, definitely. And I think it's kind of, you know, it's obviously showing with what you touched on earlier, Dion, that when you came back and you were playing shows, there was so much more demand, which now that you guys are kind of headlining your own album launch show, I feel like you're not going to be on the local circuit as much because you kind of are at that next tier. At least that's my thoughts based on Fear Forever. Like I can see you guys playing any venue in Melbourne to a sold out room. And, you know, I really hope that within the next couple of months that starts happening.
Oh, look, if the reception goes well, we'll definitely look at coming over 100%. That is something we've already discussed. Oh, fucking laptop sleeping. Definitely something we've already discussed about if it's received well. As Nathan said earlier, we'll like try and sort out a weekender over East. See if that happens, and if that works out, then fucking primo.
We'll keep coming.
I guess just to like finish up, I guess, because you did kind of touch on, you know, Fear Forever largely being born out of, you know, what you guys have always liked and what you're currently liking. And we never know who's going to listen to the show. So, you know, someone from a band in America could be listening right now and we don't know. So I guess if you guys could support any band on an Australian tour, who would that be?
Slipknot.
Aim for the stars.
that was so immediate.
I don't need to think about it. They've always been one of my favorite bands.
Oh man, I've been pumping this band for like the last like year and a half. I Am from Texas. If they
Oh,
ever
I
come
Am.
to Australia,
Definitely.
I want to be on one of their shows for sure.
I'm
Isn't that
I'm not too familiar with them, but I'll check them out 100%.
Oh, bro. So
It's death metal. So good.
It's Texas death.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, hopefully it happens, man. I mean, like Slipknot in particular, they have Knotfest and they get so many kind of up and coming bands on that. So I'm praying, boys, like House of Judgement supporting Slipknot soon, because that would be such a sick bill.
Look, it's definitely a dream. We'll see how it goes.
Man, I would piss my pants.
Yeah, dude, Nathan, you should have gone the smart answer and said Stone Sour, so that Corey just got tagged twice. But
Oh,
we went two different bands. But hopefully it happens. If it ever happens, like I'll take credit for that one. So thank you, boys. But it's been
we'll send you a carton. If it happens, we'll send you a carton, bro.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. No, that would be unreal. Well, until then, guys, you know, best of luck with the album release. So that comes out this Friday, or is it a couple of weeks away?
The album, 3rd of June.
3rd of June.
3rd of June, 6. So still a couple of weeks. So I know you've got another single in the works before then. I won't say what it is, so the people can kind of be surprised when it comes out, because I know it's got a music video.
Just say it, mate. It's fine.
It's covered. All right, so you've got the single coming out in like a week or two with the music video.
I think it's 2, yeah.
Oh, I've got it in my notes here. Is it new? It's not New Skin.
Not New Skin.
Self-Sabotage is the next single. All right.
Yes.
Self-Sabotage is coming out. Sick.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well,
yeah,
it seems like there's a lot happening, and yeah, it's going to be exciting.
Hopefully. I'm pretty keen. Ready for it. I don't know about Nathan.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Well, I know everyone at the faction's pretty ready as well. So hopefully they're not. The people at the faction are ready. The faction listeners aren't ready. It's going to blow them away. So yeah, best of luck with the release, boys. And hopefully, you know, everything opens back up and I can make it over to Perth. But if not, I'll hopefully see you in Melbourne sometime soon.
I'm at Perth, I don't know about Melbourne.
And it's actually running out of time anyway, so that's kind of perfect.
No worries.
Sweet.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for having a chat. If anyone's tuned in late, we've been with Dion and Nathan from House of Judgement. It's been awesome, boys. Thank you so much.
No problem at all.
Cheers,
Have a good
Alex.
one.